Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 372. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. It's Monday, November the 20th.
It got cold in Mississippi, yo.
Yeah, it went from 70s to 30s in 2 days.
Super cold.
Yeah. We skipped last week recording because Laura was sort of travel fatigued.
I was going crazy is what was happening.
Yeah, very little time between trips. Plus we had an out-of-town visitor that we were really happy to see.
Yeah, and I wanted to make sure that we could see her, so that got priority. Yeah. For sure. I basically unpacked from one trip. I got home like late Sunday night.
Did you just unpack directly into the washing machine?
Yes, I unpacked Monday directly into the washing machine, did wash, repacked Tuesday, and left Thursday morning at 8 a.m. for St. Louis. So I went from Orlando to St. Louis, which have very different temperatures at this time of year.
Yeah,
so I got to wear some hand knits this week, which was nice. I wore a sweater at Disney in the air conditioning, but yeah, this was like high of 40 one day, so very, very cold. But then when you got into the convention hall, it was like 800 degrees.
Oh, really? Well, I guess because there were all those people.
Because there were like millions of people waiting in line for books. So anyway, it's been an interesting week, and a lot of good things have happened this week, which has been tons of fun. But I started knitting on some socks. So before I left for Disney, I'm going to finish this row. Before I left for Disney, or on my way to Disney, I cast on a pair of socks. And they are out of lollipop yarn, and I can't tell you which colorway because I've lost the tag. She has her stuff skeined in balls, and she does it differently now, but you used to just get the ball with the tag kind of wrapped under a few wraps.
Now she uses that plastic thing. Oh no, she puts it in the bag.
A bag altogether, which is awesome.
Organza bag.
But
those are so Christmassy.
Oh my gosh, how do I still have... I thought I had bound off.
You have like 5 stitches left.
I did not. Huh. That's interesting.
Your bind off's all in the same color. Are you sure you knit those?
No, it's going to change look.
Oh.
I am sure I knit these. So these... Man, that's very disappointing. These are some socks out of lollipop yarn. And they're going to be afterthought heels. Well, forethought, because I put the... I don't even know what's happening. Yeah, there was just this weird, like my waist yarn dips down, and I'm not certain why. There's waist yarn. I put in waist yarn while at breakfast with one of our viewers in St. Louis, which was delicious. I had a rosemary honey latte. It was really, really good.
It's a coffee, so.
Yeah, I know. But rosemary and honey, like, and in my head, Paul Hollywood was like,
those are very interesting flavor combinations.
And this is the first one. So I have 2 tubes. I just need to knit heels for and bind off a wee little bit on the second one. So that is the first thing. I didn't want to start doing heels in the middle of a session. So, or apparently finish binding off. I don't know what happened there.
Those 5 stitches, man.
Those 5 stitches. I don't know. I think they just got shoved in the bag, and this bag got shoved into another bag. So, this is lollipop yarn. I'm knitting these on size 0s. They are Addy Turbos. I have this much left, so I've got plenty left. And, this is for our friends knit along. One of the choices was Christmas yarn. That was the only choice for this month. So this month was Christmas yarn.
Holiday-themed yarn.
Holiday-themed yarn, that's right. So those will be done, and I think those are actually going to be a gift for someone else. And then I am knitting on another themed holiday yarn, and this is Desert Vista Dry Works. You're a Mean One.
I like that.
Mr. Grinch. They have white in them, so I'm going to see how long I can keep that white, because white yarn and I do not get along. But yeah, so they are a few rows in, a few repeats in. I like how it goes from like green to white to green to black to green to red to green. There's that common green.
Yeah.
Which makes me super happy. I might watch the Grinch movie with Jim Carrey. It's on Netflix right now.
You know, I'm going to sort of a side tangent here, but Netflix added, I think it was just this week because I just saw it pop up, but Jim Carrey did this, the Andy Kaufman movie,
Yeah.
Man on the Moon,
Yeah.
like 20 years ago almost. And
Was it really 20 years ago? That's crazy.
It was 98, yeah. And he had like this documentarian who followed him around while he was doing it. And that footage has just sat for years, and he finally put out this like sort of like him talking about becoming Andy Kaufman and the alter ego Tony Clifton, and
which is crazy, like
just like his outlook on life in general. And I haven't seen Jim Carrey in anything in a while. I don't think he does a ton of acting anymore.
He doesn't. He's had some personal things, I think, going on.
And he talks a little bit about that, but it's
really?
very revealing sort of, I guess, like an intimate interview with him. And he was very method when it came to being Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
Like 100% all day.
Yeah, I knew that.
But it was a really, really interesting documentary that I wouldn't have thought I would have enjoyed as much as I did. But I watched it last night. It was really good.
Do you remember the name of it?
No. But I'll look it up and put it in the show notes.
Not even a little.
No. But it was really good. Anyway, that was my Jim Carrey thing. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So I'm knitting these again on size zeros, and I'm using my Chagu interchangeables. That's why they've got the red cord. So, and I'm just magic looping away, and I haven't decided on the heel yet. These are not going to be afterthought. I'm going to do some kind of heel with that's different.
I added one to my queue today that was it's a toe up one, and it sort of comes into this triangle shape above the heel. It was kind of an interesting looking one. So, but cool. I mean, you also have a billion heels, so.
I do, and there's a bunch of like Laura Neal heels that I still want to get to, so I might.
You need to actually like put that down and measure things so that you don't go past where you need to go.
Well, I'm not even close to. So my total foot length needs to be 10 inches, and I'm probably like 5 inches.
Just saying.
I've got a ways. I don't have anything else to knit on but the 5 stitches on the other sock. That's it for me. Those 2 things. That's all I'm working on.
Oh. I was hoping you had like 10 more minutes of stuff to talk about.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Because you're fixing your brioche.
Yes. So, I'm knitting on 2 things. One of them is a pair of socks I'll show you in a minute. The second is this Sooey Shrug.
Yeah.
This is by Suzanne Sommer. Sommer? S-O-M-M-E-R. I'm not sure how that's pronounced.
She just had a new one come out, too.
Yeah. She does a lot of brioche. And a lot of her patterns that she knits up for the pattern release are in like really vivid bright colors.
Yes, and it was that same like style.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So this is a fingering weight brioche and garter stitch shawl, like shrug. So it's like a triangular shawl with sleeves, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's big and flowy, and
I think it falls into the sweater category if we're going to be honest.
I mean, it's like 1,600 plus yards, so it's a lot of yardage for me, for my size. Probably less for folks that are thinner. But the beginning of it is a little complicated. You have this like provisional I-cord cast on that you then come back, you knit for just a little bit, and you pick up one back stitch and then you pull it out, and it's very tricky at the beginning. But
so what kind of provisional cast on did you use?
You just use waste yarn, because then you pull it right back out, because you only use it, it's only in there for like 5
So
rows.
you cast on with waste
Yeah.
yarn? Okay.
Yeah. And then you knit, and you just pull it out. Anyway, it's super tricky, but Suzanne has got a video in English and German.
Oh, cool.
Like 20 minutes long of the first row and the first setup rows, because they're really tricky until you get into
like the groove
the
of
rhythm.
things.
Yeah. And then after that, so in brioche, every row is really 2 rows, because in 2-color brioche, because you've got your light color and your dark color usually.
You're working with one and then you're working with the other.
And then so yeah, if you're knitting flat, you work across in the light color, and then you slide the stitches all the way over, and then you pick up the dark color and you work across, then you flip it, and you do the same, the two colors
That's
again.
why people say that brioche in the round is easier.
Yeah, it is. There's less to keep up with.
Because you're not flipping.
Yeah. And so you knit through like these 12 setup rows, and you do the last 6 rows, well, the last 8 rows, just over and over and over. And I got into a rhythm where it was going good, and then I got cocky.
That's where it goes wrong.
I got cocky, and I was like,
Always.
I was trying to memorize, like, oh, this row is just where I do the yarn over here, and then everything else is just standard. And this row is the one where I'm doing this triple increase, and everything else is standard. Got cocky is what it was. And
have you thought about using waist yarn?
but I'm just right here though. Like I'm
so like a lifeline type of situation.
But I'm still so at the beginning. So this is the beginning of it. It's just, you know, you got your brioche sections on the end with garter sections, and then the center is this another brioche section.
Is that why you ordered a counter today?
Yes, that was part of it.
I have a counter for the cocoa knits thing. Do you want to do that on your wristband?
No.
Okay.
So the way that I screwed up was when you're increasing. I'm going to pull this up so it doesn't fall off.
I also have a counter on my phone.
Well, I do too, but I wasn't using it. That's the thing. Like, I didn't want to have to get something, another piece of something to keep up with. So
I'm judging you right
whatever.
now.
Every 4 rows, which is really every 8 rows because it's 2-color brioche, on the side you do this increase. And so you create 3 stitches out of 1 stitch. Well, I was remembering to do it on the start of the row.
Uh-huh.
And then in the middle of the row you do a 1 stitch to 5 stitch increase. But then on the end of the row, I totally forgot. I was just doing a regular brioche stitch. So it was like on this side,
it was growing.
It wasn't growing because I wasn't increasing.
But on the other side, it was.
Right. So I had like 7 stripes on one side and like 4 on the other.
So like you had one arm.
Right.
Not another.
And I was like, maybe I can drop this down. And I tried that.
You're so funny.
Because you're increasing the stitches, and I missed like 4 increases. It was just too tight.
No.
It's just not going to work.
It's not that give.
Plus, dropping down in brioche is kind of a pain. Even in single color brioche.
Yeah.
So I fixed that, and then that happened. Like,
what is that?
I don't know. Like, this is 3 rows down.
Now you're making me want to knit brioche.
Because of all my failures?
No, just because it's so pretty.
I don't know what happened there. So I tried to fix it, and I really just made it worse. So I'm just going to... It's only like 2 or 3 rows down, so I'm just going to fix it. I was trying to get down to there before. Like, once I realized it last night, I was watching... you know Sue Perkins from... the Great British Bake Off, the dark-haired comic chick. Well, she hasn't...
She's the blonde woman. Was it
No,
Sue?
that's Mel.
That's Mel, okay.
Sue is the dark-haired chick, the short hair with glasses. She's got a series on Netflix about the Mekong River through Cambodia and Laos and all that, and I was watching that because I just like listening. I like her voice, and she's funny. And I was watching that and thinking... I'm just making this worse. And then I just had to put it away and just go to bed. So anyway, I still am using the little 100-yard ball that I got from Steve to sample.
And you got some others, right?
I did.
Excellent.
So my colors for this are Leading Men Fiber Arts. I'm using the Showstopper base in the Minty Fresh.
It's a great name.
And they changed their...
They did change their cards.
Yeah, the card is different. It's like a paint splatter, sort of. But yeah.
It looks like your tattoo.
Yeah, watercolor. And then the other is the colorway they sort of did for us. Well, maybe not for us.
It was based on our craziness.
Yeah, the Great Sweater Debate, because this was when we were like, he was like, tell us what your favorite sweater color is, and we gave him like 30. 30 colors.
You gave him a bunch. What color did I give him?
Purple or gray.
No, I said gray.
So, yeah, this is sort of
And then he told me I had to make other choices.
This is sort of a purplish gray with speckles of all the other colors in there.
Yeah.
Would you say purplish gray? Because you always disagree with my colors.
I would say gray.
Okay.
It's like sterling silver, maybe?
And anyway, so I'm ripping back on that. I need to leave this out because I need to wind the yarn.
On your magic winder?
On my magic winder. And then the other thing that I'm working on is a sock. And the only reason that this has any progress since the last time you saw it was because we went 2 weeks. That's the only reason.
Oh, that's that post yarn, what was it, Christmas
Holiday
USA?
Florida.
Okay, Holiday Florida.
Yeah. This is Simply Sock Yarn post self-striping, which is Simply Sock Yarn's like house brand.
It's a Cordale. They also now do like a merino cashmere.
Oh, well, I like this.
I like the
It's not as
Cordale a
soft
lot.
as merino, but it's very hard wearing, and it's perfectly soft enough for your feet.
If you like things like Opal and Regia, that would be a good choice.
Yeah. So I've finished the heel and the heel flap and turning the heel, and I've started the gusset, and I hate the gusset, so that's why I got stopped there. This was knit night 2 weeks ago was the last time I touched this, I think.
What did you work on at my house the other day? Last knit night?
The Gale shawl.
Oh, that's right. Well, did you have that to show?
No.
Oh.
It's downstairs.
But you worked on it.
A little bit, yeah, but mostly I pulled back stuff that I had messed up already.
Oh.
I'm in a habit of messing things up. I don't know why.
I think
I'm overconfident, and I'm like, I don't need instructions.
I think you're just unfocused. It is that time of year where there's so much going on that it's easy to get unfocused.
And I want to cast on like 30 things.
You should. Let's do it. Should we have a cast-on party tomorrow? I'll bring over stuff to wind.
Some of the things I have to swatch for, though.
Okay.
That's boring, I know.
I don't care if you swatch or not. I'm going to...
I need to pick out... I would like to cast on 5 things before the end of the year. Not necessarily finish
What
them.
5 things would you like to cast on?
I would like at least one short sleeve pullover sweater because I wear a lot of plain long sleeves.
Okay.
And I run hot, like right now. I'm like mildly glowing. I'm warm.
And I'm freezing. Like my toes have been cold since I left Florida.
Oh.
And I'm wearing Ugg boots and wool socks.
Well, I would like a pullover, a lightweight short sleeve pullover of some sort. I want to do one of Josh Rick's self-striping shawls.
Yeah, did you see the one that, you're not on Instagram, Steven, S.O. Waters, just finished a gorgeous shawl called Butterfly.
I'll take a look.
Here, I'm going to show it to you right now, and I'll show it to our viewers, because it's really pretty. And it uses, he used one of the skeins from, you keep talking, I'll show people.
I want to knit that. I would like to knit 2 big, like, lofty hats, like worsted or Aran weight, because I can't find any hats in my house, and it's getting cold.
You don't have any hats?
Apparently not.
So it's the Butterfly Papillon shawl?
That's really pretty.
Isn't that pretty?
That's
he used concrete and tulips.
That's not a Josh Ricks pattern, though, is it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's like
But it's really pretty, and it uses self-striping yarn.
Oh.
It uses 2 different. He used well, you know what? This is S.O. Waters. That's Steven, and you can follow him on Instagram, and you can see exactly what it used. But he used Gauge Dye Works and concrete and tulips, and then socks that rock lightweight and shadow, which is I think the black. So anyway, really, really pretty. Are you gonna find the?
Yeah, I was gonna look up S.O. Waters.
I don't know that he put it on.
It's worth looking.
Yeah, he might have. There's Steven.
No, the Pulse nightclub socks are the last ones.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff.
What was it called? Butterfly?
Butterfly, Papa.
I'll just start with Butterfly.
That's not how you spell the word butterfly. If you click shawl, that might help. Welcome to us searching things on Ravelry. I bet you
There's 245 patterns with shawl or with butterfly.
Huh.
It's short rows, right?
Yes, and it's knit.
This one.
So that would be, yes.
Oh, it's favorited.
Yeah, it's that one. Oh, it's $14.
Oh, I think it's got like a bunch of instructions. It must.
That's a lot of pattern.
That is a lot of pattern.
For one size.
Alright, well, I'm just going to link this because people will ask.
Yeah, no, it's really pretty.
Butterfly.
It's going to be towards the bottom of the show notes.
Shawl. It'll be down in favorite things.
Yep. Because it's gorgeous. And he used more than one skein of the concrete and tulips. He broke into a sock skein too.
Okay. We're going to put that back over here. Alright, so that's all that I've been working on.
Okay.
I did finish
something.
This is for a friend, and I'm glad I finished it. Now I can send off the package. I've been delaying. This is the Glamour Wrap by Kirsten Kapoor. I always want to say Kirsten Kapoor. And it is from Drop Dead Easy Knits, which was out, I think it was last year or early this year, one of the two. And it's a very simple slip stitch, or not slip stitch, drop stitch shawl or scarf, depending on how wide. I'm going to
cast on one of her patterns because I really love her stuff.
And it grows quite a bit. Well, at least in this yarn it did. So it's really plenty big, especially because the person is tiny that this is going to. But,
so not me then.
It's not for you.
Dashing my hopes and dreams.
But I knit it out of an Aran weight, so it went pretty quick. It's simple knits and purls and drop stitches, so it was not difficult at all. The whole pattern was like a half a page in the book. It's very simple. I don't mean that negatively. I mean it's very easy to pick it up and put it down and not have to look at the pattern to figure out where you are.
That's perfect gift knitting.
So this needs a block, and then it's going to get shipped off to its intended recipient. And that's all that I finished in 2 weeks of us not recording.
Well, I didn't finish much either. And I had lots of travel time to knit, but, things happen. Self-stripping.
Part of that time you were teaching, that's not really conducive to pleasure knitting.
But I finished my cowl by Laura Nelkin. This is the Always cowl. I cast on the larger width, and I added an extra 15 rows. I also changed it. That's the wrong side. Because from this point on, so you do this, you cast on down here, and then you do stockinette stitch, and then you're supposed to do garter stitch for the whole rest of the thing. But I wanted to give it a little bit more height. I like my cowls to be around 6 inches, and this is not 6 inches. This is probably around 4. But I was trying to get a little bit of extra height out of it. So I added another stockinette section, and then I added garter. So it's, instead of being 10 rows, 10 rows, 10 rows, instead of being 10 rows, 10 rows, and then 20 rows, it's 10 rows, 10 rows, 10 rows, 10 rows, 10 rows, if that makes sense. And I wear this a lot in Florida because it's just a little bit of warmth around your neck, and it's got that little bling from the beads. So it makes me happy. And this was in the Rainbow Trout colorway of old rusted chair. Yeah, so it's just it's more of a showpiece than a warmth piece. Does that make sense? So it was great for Florida, and I love the beaded element to it. I think is a lot of fun. And if you do the smaller one, you get more row height. You use more beads. And I would say probably around 120 yards on this. The pattern called for 100 yards for both sizes.
But you adjusted the count of
I adjusted I did the larger count, but I added more beads. I love how these beads stack on each other too. It's really, really cool. So that got a lot of wear in Florida, especially. Just for that little bit of bling with a t-shirt was fun. And I'll probably get some good wear here as well, because it's been warm up until this point. So that is the Always cowl. Let me hold this up like this so you guys can actually see it. And that is by Laura Nelkin. And I knit it on one size smaller than what it called for. So I think 4s. Yep. So that is that. I have a little bit of spinning. Do you have any... You want me to do that?
Go for it.
Awesome.
I don't have any spinning.
Oh, okay. So I have... you do in the show notes, just FYI.
Oh, I just didn't take it out.
Okay. This is a loop bump. Steph makes these gorgeous bumps that are gradients. So this goes from like a light gray to a aquamarine to a teal to a dark teal.
You should have heard our knit group while she was scanning this. I swear, if I heard one more person say, oh, that's so pretty.
It is pretty. And then we had a guessing competition on the yardage. Because I applied this and scanned it at knit night at my house. I chain plied it. So I spun the singles fairly thin. I would say it's sport weight.
I would say about a sport.
Yeah.
Maybe a DK, depending on your gauge.
Yeah. And it's 620 yards, which comes out to over 1,800 of singles. It's a merino Angelina. And it was spun and plied on my mini because I can't, it's 6 ounces.
And you didn't want to break it, so...
Yeah, and I spun it on the woolly winder. So that's part of the reason why it's not super thin. Because the woolly winder pulls a little bit and super thin stuff tends to break on it. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's going to be a shawl. It's already got its bath. It got the bath the same night. And
yeah, because I walked into your house on Thursday and went to your guest bathroom.
Yeah, hope you didn't want to take a shower.
No, it wasn't that. It was...
I figured you could move that if you needed to.
Yeah, it was just, I was like, oh, wool, whew! Like I could smell the wool.
I've been using, instead of soak recently, I've been using the Bijou Basin, which is a little bit more subtle. Oh, and I had a long conversation with an indie dyer in Orlando, and we were talking about, like, how your water can change how much dye leakage. Like, if you have
hard
water versus soft water versus whatever the dyer used. And she also said because things like soak have more what's like base to them versus acid. What's that word? Not acid,
alkaline?
but alkaline. There, thank you. Then that can cause further bleeding. And I knew that people had said soak can cause stuff to bleed, but I didn't know the science behind it. So that's part of that situation as well.
So maybe if you have that problem, you could add a water softener before you add soak, and maybe that'll balance it.
With that, or you could add vinegar, and that's acid, and that will balance it. Any kind of like citric acid. That's why citric acid, I guess, is used. I don't know. We'll have to play. So yay. This made me super happy. So that got turned in for House Cup. This was my mission, which I've never done before, but it was a little bit of fun. It's not as big as a project.
It was a little bit of fun.
It was a little bit of fun. It's not as big as a project for, like my owl. Oh, update on my owl. So the Even Star Shell is not with us. It's at home. It got put up after I hit the 50% mark, and to be honest, I haven't been in the mood for it, and it's going to be a failed owl. I hit the 50% mark, but I'm not going to get the whole thing. I figured out the other day that I would have to knit like 12 hours a day on it to get it done. And I have to work at some point, so...
And there are levels of sanity that really need to be observed sometimes.
Yeah, and I'm ready to start on Christmas knitting. Like, I need to start on Christmas knitting. Absolutely, because I'm already behind on Christmas knitting a little bit. I only have 2 presents made, so... I need to get started on that. So I'm not going to stress myself out with holiday knitting.
Good.
Or the Even Star Shawl. I'm just going to do what I can do. And that will be it.
I think you should just make a soft goal of having it done by SSK.
What? My Christmas knitting for next year?
Your Even Star.
Oh, my Even Star. I was like, what are we talking about? Yeah. Actually, I would like to have it done by the end of March.
To take to Flyaway?
To take to Flyaway, but also to take to Madison, because I'm teaching a class on knitting with handspun at Madison.
Oh, cool.
And I would like to have that as a sample. So I think once Christmas is over, once the holiday season is over, I'll have a little bit more time.
Unless you sign up for something else crazy.
Well, there's always that. There's always that. But yeah. I mean, I'll do another owl for next term. But there's a detention owl where you finish up, like...
An old, unfinished owl?
Old projects. Like, it would have to... I've done that one before where I finished, like, those 2 sweaters and those, like, 4 shawls. But I'm not certain that I have enough unfinished stuff right now to make that one work for me. Or I could just not do an owl for a term and finish that off.
You could do that.
And turn it... Well, I'll have a whole break month, too, from Harry Potter. So, maybe I'll get done in January. After all the shenanigans. But usually I knit a lot for people for the holidays, but I've been buying more this year. Like, I was just at NCTE and I got to meet all these awesome authors, so I bought a bunch of books to have them signed for the nieces.
Oh, that's good.
So,
so they're mostly taken care of?
Yeah, they're mostly taken care of, and I bought your Christmas presents today.
Cool.
Yay!
I like presents.
Good, because you're getting some. And I told Jess what they are. Ha ha ha. So, yeah.
This is not right.
Uh-oh.
I'm trying to rip back 2 rows at once and be like Trixie.
Why don't you just do 1 row at a time?
No, now I'm back to where I needed to be to fix this, so.
Okay. So that's it for me for spinning. Leslie doesn't have spinning, apparently.
Nope.
She's a liar who lies on show notes.
Yep, all the time.
Reading-wise, I started a new book.
An actual physical book.
Yeah. Well, now I have like 18 bags of them. But this one I purchased beforehand. But I got to meet Jason Reynolds this weekend, so I decided when I got home that I was going to start it. So I'm not very far in. This is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. He was voted People Magazine's Sexiest Author of the Year.
Okay.
A title deserved.
Oh, yeah, he is a good-looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
I would not say no thank you to a nice chat with that gentleman.
When I was I did not get this book signed. I left it at home. And his mom's a teacher. It makes me super happy. And he is extremely well-spoken. I saw him on 3 panels, and every time was a joy. But the woman behind me at the Disney booth, I got, he's doing one of the Spider-Man type things, Miles Morales, which is like a new Spider-Man type, I don't know. It has something to do with Spider-Man. And he wrote the novel for that, and the woman behind me had him sign it to my girlfriend, kind of like the Brooklyn Tweed thing, and I was like, wow. I had mine signed to my kids at school.
Yeah.
I have a child in particular that I wanted to get that book for, so I had it signed to him. But this is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. It is a novel in verse. I love verse because there are a lot of space. So for me...
I like verse because there are a lot of space.
I know, that doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of space. There's a lot of white space. Or gray space in this matter, where you know when to pause.
Yeah.
And I think the words can be a little bit more impactful at times. So this takes place in an elevator over the course of 60 seconds, this whole book.
Oh, wow. And
there are 7 floors, 3 rules, and 1 gun. Will's older brother Sean has been shot.
Oh, that's right. You talked about this last time we recorded.
And the 3 rules are no crying, no snitching, and always revenge. So
nice, healthy attitude.
Yeah, but it's very relatable to a lot of my students. It's relatable in life, and I'm reading this because A, it's an awesome novel from what I hear, but also I think it's a novel that's going to grow me as a person. So I'm excited to get it read. And hopefully this long week off, I will definitely do that. And I have so many awesome, great books that I got that I need to read as well. So, yeah, I'm excited about this one. For sure. And obviously I've talked about it before. So, yay, long way down. And he was just a joy to meet.
Oh, I forgot. I need to move this down so you can see.
Oh, I knew what I was talking about. Oh, okay. But you have to talk about a bunch of stuff.
Well, it's been 2 weeks, so, I joined Audible is doing this new thing where they have a romance package membership.
Which is interesting to me that they picked that specific genre.
Well, apparently it's one of the best-selling genres.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And it's like $6.95 a month, or at least that's what it is right now. And for $6.95 a month, you can download and listen to any book that they've categorized as romance. Now, the problem with this is that there are some series, like book series, where some of the books are in that category and some of them are not.
Can you shoot them an email and be like, hey, these books are all in the same series? Maybe. That's what I would do.
But, so I've listened to a couple of books that I wouldn't have otherwise purchased.
Like what?
How to Tame a Beast in 7 Days.
Oh, Carolyn it's a Sparks book.
Like, it was okay, but I wouldn't read it again, and I wouldn't read any of the future books in there. I am listening to How to Drive a Dragon Crazy by G.A. Aiken.
G.A. Aiken.
This one's about Ebhar the Blue.
That's my favorite of that series, I think. No, it's not. It's, Gwendol?
Gwen Fail something.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
That's my favorite.
The one who's so pretty and he just doesn't know what to do with himself, with Dagmar from the north.
Yes. Yeah. And she just puts him in his place. That is my favorite.
So I'm listening to that, and I'm also listening to this series of essays by a woman named Samantha Irby called We Are Never Meeting in Real Life. And it's considered a comedy memoir.
But it fell into the romance category?
No, it's totally different. That is Pearl.
I cannot believe you're knitting on that as we record.
It's really good. I listened to it on the way back from Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, you went to Oklahoma.
I did.
We'll have to talk.
And hung
Leslie
out.
and I also have not spoken in like 2 weeks because the only time we've seen each other was at Knit Night.
Yeah.
For a very brief period of time. Oh, and dinner with Pam.
Dinner with Pam from NOLA. She came and hung out with us. Let's see. Oh, and the new TJ Klune Dragon book came out at midnight. It downloaded to my Kindle, and I started right away.
Oh, good.
But I'm only like 6% into it because the first like 3 or 4% was all a recap from previous books.
Yeah, I need to reread the last two, and then I can go back into that.
You really don't. Unless you want to. Well, I mean, they're worth rereading, but...
I only read the second one once.
Yeah. I reread the second one earlier this month, so I would be ready.
So you would be prepared.
Yeah. And I actually read, when I was looking for the release date in this book, I went and read TJ Klune's blog.
Uh-huh.
And apparently, he's asexual, but he kept getting people emailing him saying that this book, that the Dragon series was so good, but did he really need to write sex scenes? And so for this book, he wrote like a 20,000 character sex scene just to like say, it's my book, I can write whatever I want. Like, if you don't like it, don't buy my book.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense because there is an asexual character in the first book as well. Huh. Yeah. Interesting.
So, I'm just amused by the whole I can do what I want, you're not the boss of me aspect of it.
Especially when you're self-publishing.
Yeah. And I love it. And his books are super diverse. Like, this series is sassy and funny and, you never know what's coming next, but there are some of his that are dark. Like really dark.
Yeah.
So, I think that shows his breadth as a writer, personally. Yeah. I would be happy if he wrote these Dragon books and released them monthly. I would buy them happily. But, anyway, I'm talking about Destiny of Dragon. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This one is called The Consumption of Magic.
And it's in the Lightning Struck Heart series.
Yes, and it just came out today, November the 20th. I pre-ordered it as soon as it went up, so... Because I'm a junkie that way.
I don't think that makes you a junkie. I think that makes you a reader.
It'll be done by the next time we record, I'm sure. Unless
Yay.
I parcel it out, which I may.
That's what I'm doing with the last Alana Andrews. Still haven't finished it. It's been like a month and a half.
I need to put this down before I mess it up because
I was going to say.
I've got a gusset I can knit on. So that's all there is for that. The top thing we can leave until the very last.
Okay.
You want to talk about your teaching?
Sure. I went to Magical Fiber Fantasy in Orlando, and it was so much fun. And my people in my classes were amazing and so kind, and we had such a good time. I got to hang out with Tanis Gray, which was wonderful. She's a wonderful teacher. If you can take classes with her, definitely do, because she was telling me about what she was teaching, and she's super smart. I wish I had gotten to hang out with the other two teachers, but we were like ships passing the night.
You're all teaching at the same time. So.
I saw Liz Gibson in passing, and I heard such wonderful things about her rigid heddle classes that I wish I could have had time to sneak in and take them. And then I heard wonderful things about Laura as well. I didn't even see her. So it was just crazy because I flew in Thursday and then flew back out Sunday, but a lot of the other teachers left Saturday because they were done teaching Saturday. I was Tanis and I taught Friday, Saturday. Mm-hmm. The other, I think Liz taught Thursday, Friday.
Oh, okay.
And
so they finished
Laura.
A day early. Okay.
So it was like a 4-day event. So loads of fun. Had lots of Disney adventures. I got to go to hang out at Universal with one of our views. Yeah, it was so much fun, and she was so sweet, and it was just an incredible time. We were only there for around 4 hours, so I'd love to go back.
Oh,
yeah, the Disney, I took the Magical Express, and it's it makes multiple stops, so it just took longer for me to get to the hotel than I was anticipating and find my room.
Yeah.
Also, my coworkers this past weekend were making fun of me because at Disney you get this wristband for the hotels and you just set it up to your door and things open. And I kept trying that with my key card. And that is not how things work.
Well, in a lot of places it is it's an RFID sensor, and so you can just touch it.
Yeah, that's not how this hotel was set up. So I'm like, oh, I have to actually slide this card. Okay.
There are some, like the hotel that's attached to the casino where I have an office. They've set it up so you can send a signal from your phone to the door, cool. And it'll unlock it.
I'm also terrible with numbers, which Leslie knows.
Yeah.
And so, at Disney, I kept forgetting what hotel room I was in until I texted it to Amy and I could look back in the message. So there was one point where I had no idea which room I was in. I knew it was a 20-something.
Yeah.
And so I just wandered around putting my hand up the doors, trying to figure out, and one opened for me, so that was my room. But that truly happened.
That's not creepy at all.
No. Do you want to hear my other embarrassing story from this week?
Have I heard it yet?
I don't know. You have not.
Okay.
So, at NCTE, which is the, to get into, the place where all the book signings are and all these vendors are, they had, lines that were, thousands of people long at the beginning of the day.
Okay.
So people were camped out because they wanted to get to book signings real fast at the beginning. Be first in line or whatever. And you get more face time with authors typically if you're, towards the beginning of line or at the end. Depending. And so I was in this large line that had circled back and forth a bazillion times, and I was like
a Disney ride.
And more than that.
Yeah.
So I was person 2000. And I finally get towards the front and this lady cuts in front of me and I was like, excuse me. She was an author going into her Oops. And I wasn't super rude about it, but I was like, why are you cutting in front of me? Because, a lot of times, people will hold places for their friends, which is not a big deal. That I don't mind. But she was just,
I don't mind,
zipping in.
You're holding a place for one person.
Yes, I would, yeah.
If you're holding a place for 10 people, I'm going to go all Sheldon on you.
Also, if there's, if it's 10 people and there's only a certain limited number of books at a lot of these events, a lot of the signings, so that can cause some strife. But Disney was wonderful. It was tons of fun. The people there were excellent. I got to hang out with Queen City Yarns, Janice, who also does the Carolina Fiber Girls podcast. And I'll show you guys, I bought some things on the market. I bought stuff for Leslie too, but I bet you it's downstairs.
It is downstairs.
But I bought her the same things basically that I got, just in different colorways.
And you know what's funny is they were in a reusable bag sitting on the chair by my bar, like sitting up in a chair, and I had put them there, and I came into the living room and was about to sit down. Buffy came out of the kitchen holding Labian and me in her mouth and came and just put it on the sofa, and I was like, oh my god!
What is happening? Buffy is Leslie's dog.
Yes, one of my pit bull.
Did you
mix.
see on yours, what was yours?
The Continuum?
Yeah, okay, hold on. So this is String Theory Colorworks, and this is her displacement base, which is a superwash BFL and nylon base.
It's self-striping.
And it's self-striping, and they're
so they're like
the colors, yeah, they're inverse colors of each other. So one's got more teal and the other is more purple, and all her stuff has a stitch marker, and yours is and all her stuff is like geeky,
galaxy,
yeah,
like space related.
Yeah, some kind of geekiness related, and yours is something like the cords, you know, like the different color cords that you plug into electronic type things. They're like, yours is black or gray with like yellow and red.
It's gray.
And so your stitch marker is like one of those little like pieces, whatever it's named, it's that.
Oh, okay.
It's actually like whatever it is. Now I can't remember.
I'll have to go and look.
Like a laser, and it's a little laser or something. It's not, that's not it.
Right. Something along that line.
And this is her displacement base, and I got you the sport base.
Oh, yay! I like sport weight socks. They knit up so quick. I can knit them on size 3.
Way to pay attention to what I got you. And I think I got you the BFL in sport.
Oh, cool. I didn't look at the base, the fiber base.
And then...
Because I don't question what Laura buys. I'm like, yeah, I'll knit it, whatever.
I won this. This was a door prize.
Yay.
And so this is the Pixie Dust, which was her exclusive colorway. This is Queen City Yarns.
I like it.
And this is also Queen City Yarns in the Ninja Lizard colorway. You got Queen City Yarns in It's a Friday reference. Like, bye, Felicia. That's what you got. Oh. And it's glitter. And then this is also Queen City Yarns in Lush. But I like the green.
Yeah.
So I got those 3.
You didn't get any Lobby Enemy for you?
Hold on, I did.
Oh.
And so the last thing I bought was, so they had all this La Bien Ami, which I kind of had heard of, but not really.
I've seen it where designers have used it in their garments.
And it's, so I got the peanut butter and jelly colorway.
Oh.
And then I got Leslie a gray one.
The colors are washing out, sorry.
Yeah. So it's, like a bright purple with patches. It kind of reminds me of Hedgehog a little bit.
It's got like magenta
and rust.
Yeah.
And it's just
pretty.
really, really pretty.
It's very Laura.
It is. So is the gray. I got both in case I couldn't decide, or if I wanted to keep both.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just tell Leslie I couldn't find anything for her.
I got you other things.
You did. I'm not complaining.
So I got her a skein of Queen City as opposed to my 4 skeins of Queen. No, 3 skeins of Queen City. And there were like 2 more that I wanted. Like, she had some really cool colors.
You showed such restraint.
I did. And I also got the New Lane magazine.
Yeah, which we'll review soon.
Number 3. So that is all I purchased from... They had a really good marketplace. So I felt restrained. Like I had done something good by only buying...
$150 worth of yarn.
A lot of yarn. But I won 1 skein.
Yeah.
And then the Queen City, I went shopping. Janice had me hanging out in her room, and it was just laying there with all the models. I had to go through it and buy stuff.
Yeah.
So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But she's really sweet. And so's Cajun Girl was there.
Aw, I like her.
Yeah, and I also ran into a viewer in the middle of the exhibition hall at NCTE that was really, really sweet. And we took a selfie and we talked about books. It was super fun. And we also tortured my one coworker because he's on like 2 panels and he's famous, and he's like, I'm not famous, and so we called anytime we passed him, we're like, oh my god, it's Chad Everett, and like he's like, people are Googling me now. And one woman said to him, I guess you're famous or something. We're such jerks. It was very, very fun. And I also went out to breakfast with a viewer and got my rosemary and honey latte and a breakfast sandwich, both of which were delicious. It was an egg sandwich, and they put like a maple syrup honey mustard on the bottom. Oh, it was so good. So good.
I don't like the textured eggs.
Well,
I use them in baking,
you're
but
a freak.
I don't eat
Mama Linneman doesn't either.
fried or scrambled.
She doesn't eat any kind
like
of
the idea of poached
eggs.
or sunny side up, or eggs where the yolk is runny. Just
oh, that's my favorite. Hey, we should do breakfast. If you weren't working tomorrow, I would say we should do Cracker Barrel breakfast tomorrow.
We can do it tomorrow.
What time?
I'll just
do you
start
have
a little
to?
bit later.
Or you could get up at the time that I get up every morning. Just kidding. So Humberto woke you up.
He did. So while Laura was out of town, I puppy sat and cat sat, except Saturday night when Kobe did it for me.
Not my parents came for the first round of Orlando. This was for NCT.
Yeah,
Louis.
this was just this past. It was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Pearl was very good. No complaints out of her. I did. The last time that I dog sat, I taught Humberto that every time Pearl gets a treat, he should get a treat.
Yeah. How'd that work out for you?
He was very vocal.
Yeah, he is. Thanks for that. I appreciate that so much.
When I came over on Sunday morning to get Kobe, Humberto was still yowling, and I was like, oh, I forgot to tell you he gets wet food in the morning. So I had to go and give him wet food.
There was one little container of wet food left. I was like, yes, because I thought I had counted out where there would only be enough, and then he wouldn't get it today. I'd have to go get some, but there was one left.
So you're allowed to live.
The yowling stopped pretty early on this morning.
But yeah, Pearl was pretty good, and she slept near me, but not really with me. But Humberto liked to wake me up by patting my face.
That's because you left that door open.
Like, lady. Hey, lady. Lady.
It's all fun and games until he puts out the claws.
He didn't, though. He just used his paw.
He
was
after a while, he will put out the claws if you wait long enough.
Yeah, and apparently Kobe was woken up by him scratching the door because he slept in the guest room.
Yeah.
And I guess he closed the door.
So I didn't put sheets back on the guest room bed because you weren't staying on there. I had just set them on top. Well, they're on the floor. And he just slept on the bare mattress.
Welcome to a 14-year-old boy. He didn't say a thing to me about it either.
Like, I was like, oh, I guess.
And like, I had folded out the sofa. And I was like, you could sleep here if you want. It's huge, you know, with the folded out part. He didn't.
It's a sleeper sofa. He slept on the bare mattress.
Whatever.
I mean, it's not like the plastic coated mattress, so. And it had a mattress pad that he slept on top of.
He's just a 14-year-old boy and doesn't care.
It just made me laugh. All he had to do was like put on the sheets that were right there. Oh, Kobe.
I didn't even think.
No, I didn't. I would have because
I
you weren't
slept
staying
in
there. I
Laura's
just watched
bed,
them. Yeah.
But I didn't even give Kobe the option because he's a 14-year-old boy, and I was like, you know, we're not even going to go there. So.
Because my bed's nicer than my guest bed.
Yeah, well.
By far.
Like, Laura was going to get home late, and I figured she wouldn't, like, the end of the world wouldn't come if she slept on sheets that I had slept on. But I wouldn't want to sleep on sheets that a 14-year-old boy had slept on.
No, thank you.
So,
And I have clean sheets that I switched over to. But I didn't do, like, the heavy-duty,
yeah. Now that you know a lot more about our linen habits.
Seriously.
We do have some SSK news.
We do. So we're so far behind this year. So thank you, those of you who have been waiting patiently. It just, things were not falling into place.
We got started on it late, and then we had an issue with getting a couple of teachers, and then that fell through, and then we were lucky, and we got some really lovely folks.
Excellent. Yes, and we have 5 this year.
Yeah. One we don't have a contract on yet, so we'll wait to talk about her. but the other 4 we do. And the way that SSK works, so let's start with that.
Yeah.
If you are new to SSK, it is our annual knitting event in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep.
It's usually the 3rd weekend in July.
Yep.
Next year, in 2018, it will be July the 18th through the 22nd of 2018. It is $400 for a day passer spot, and that day passer spot, you get everything that an on-site spot gets except lodging. You get the goodie bag, you get the class, you get entrance into all the events, you get the food. The only thing that you don't get is lodging.
Yep.
And then, so that's $400, and then the lodging is the on-site spot is $675. So these prices are up a little bit from last year, but that is because lodging went up and food went up a little bit. But we still feel like it's relatively affordable.
So let's go over the schedule. You arrive Wednesday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
The entrance starts at 3.
The check-in, where you get your goodie bag, starts at 3 o'clock.
Yep, and that's also the time that hotel check-in starts.
Mm-hmm.
If you are staying on site that night, it is dinner on your own. We do have a cupcake bar that
cupcake
opens.
reception, and then we have like a welcome reception around 5:30, and then after that everybody goes to dinner.
Yep, and we do or they go
before, but that's really early. I mean, you can.
Do we do it at 5:30?
Yeah,
I thought
we do the welcome
okay.
reception early. That way people can go off and
gotcha,
and
do their thing,
get dinner and get settled in, and it's not too late.
Gotcha. And then there's door prizes that night as well. And we do around 40% of the door prizes that night.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thursday, you get one class
included in the
cost, and every additional class is going to be $50 this year, just because it's a nice round number and it makes me happy. And so there you have the option to take 2 classes that day. And that night, we have the tasting room where you can try all different types of needles. I think last year we had, 60 different types of needles?
Yeah.
All sorts of different spinning wheels.
And other fiber tools.
Yep.
Like knitting knotties or swifts or
spindles, drum carders.
All sorts of crazy stuff for you to play with.
And there's gleaners and other kinds. If you're not a spinner, there's lots of things for you to try as well. Mm-hmm. And also some weaving equipment as well.
Now, on all of these days, your breakfast and lunch are included. On Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, breakfast and lunch are included.
And snacks.
Which are in the afternoon, usually around 3.
Yep. And then the next day is Friday. There's 2 classes available on that day as well.
2 slots.
Yeah,
there's lots of classes.
Yeah. There's going to be lots of classes this year. And breakfast and lunch, like Leslie said, are included. That night is the try-it-on room where you get to try on things that people have knit that they've brought with them, and they get door prize tickets for providing those. So
more information about that
sweaters
closer.
And other stuff, shawls and other accessories that night.
Really, it's a lot of people's favorite thing about SSK because you get to, it's like dress up for adults. You get to try on all of these things that you haven't knit and decide whether it's worth it to you to knit them.
Yep.
And a lot of times people do free to a good home things if they've knit it and they just don't like it,
or they'll trade for yarn or other things.
So it's always enjoyable.
Saturday is the market.
Yes.
So if you come, you can get in at 10 a.m.
10 a.m. unless you get one of our golden ticket passes that gets you in early.
And those are a goodie bag. We do scratch off tickets in the goodie bag, and that's one of the things you can get on there. You can also get market dollars to spend at market. Mm-hmm. And
we
a
give
bunch
away
of other door prizes
between $500 and $1,000 in basically free market money for you every year.
Yep. And then that night is the farewell reception. And
where it's like an endless parade of door prizes.
I feel like that's true. And sometimes there's singing and other fun stuff. And then Sunday morning we provide breakfast and everyone goes their own way. So some people stay later and hang out in the lobby and sit and knit.
Some people arrive a day early.
Yeah.
And go and do, other local sightseeing. There are local shops in
Yes.
the area that almost always offer discounts to SSK
Yep.
attendees. And lots of people do day trips out there. Maybe if they don't have an afternoon class, they'll say, hey, I'm going here. Does anybody want to go with me? And take a car full of folks.
Uber
over.
is super accessible in the Nashville area.
It is very warm, so it's not... You wouldn't want to walk anywhere that's more than a mile away because it's just too warm for that.
It's summer in Nashville, Tennessee. So things to think about.
A thing to know about our event. So we've been very lucky in that our event is popular enough that we have more people that want to come than we have space for. And we're very grateful that you guys want to come back to our event or want to come for the first time. Last year we had more newbies than we had any other year aside
Except
from
for
year
the first
one.
year. Yeah.
And it was fantastic to see all those new faces.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be fortunate enough to have that happen again this year.
Yeah, I hope
It's
so.
not something that we count on for sure, but if we have more than 160, because we're bumping up, added 10 spots this year.
Mm-hmm.
So part of the Garrett Bennett increase was to go to their renovation project, and they were able to give us 10 more rooms this year.
Right.
So we will have 110 on-site rooms, and we're keeping the off-site, the day pass spots the same.
Yeah.
At 50. So there will be 10 more spots this year. I don't think that we'll ever get much bigger than that.
I just don't think that space is really going to allow for it to get bigger than that. And I'm okay with that. But the thing to note about entry is that assuming that we have more than 160 people apply, it is lottery based. So you put your name in the hat, and then after the time period for entries has closed, we use random number generator. We export all those entries into an Excel sheet, and we use random number generator to give us numbers for, which entry gets in for the first round and the second round, and et cetera, et cetera.
So how this works is we notify 160 people they're in. Some people then
can immediately tell us, something came up and now I'm going to have to drop.
Yes.
Or
I can't get the days off of work.
Right.
I just tried,
And that happens. Life happens. We don't hold that against anybody.
So if you don't get in the first round, do not despair. We will have, I think over the course of the year, we usually have around 50 to 75 openings.
Yeah. I mean, I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 35% of people that get in initially drop for whatever reason.
Yep. So then we notify people if they're on the wait list or if they're in. And if you're on the wait list, you can let us know, no, I'm no longer interested, take me out, or yes, I want to stay. And we will be pulling from that wait list up until around a month before the event.
Mm-hmm.
A month out, we still pull from the wait list, kind of, sort of. We let people tell us if they're still interested, if any spots open.
What we do is about a month out, sometimes 6 weeks, we'll email everybody that's still on the wait list and say, on this day, at this time, and we always give you at least a week's heads up, on this day, at this time, there are going to be 5 spots or however many spots available, and it's going to be a first come, first serve, and you claim them on Ravelry, so it's very clear to see who claimed them first. And that
then we draw off of that wait list. So even if that fills pretty quickly, go ahead and make sure that your name gets down, because we've worked through that list before.
Even when, let's say, there were 5 spots open and 20 people responded, we've still gotten to the point where we've worked through every single person on that list.
Yeah, and we close it off after a couple minutes just so it's manageable. So that's something to think about as well. Let's talk about teachers, because we've been talking a lot about the logistics. Our first teacher for SSK for 2018 is going to be Kirsten Kapoor.
Yep.
So Kirsten has taught for us before. Everyone loved her classes. We adore her as both a designer and a human being. And we are so happy that she has made time in her schedule to come back again.
Yeah, she's one of the people that our attendees come back and say over and over how much they enjoyed her classes. So we've been wanting to have her back for a while, and we're lucky now we've got her in for 2018. And speaking of returning folks, we have another
Vivacious
all-star coming back this year. We have Lauren Nelkin, who was primarily sort of known for knitting with beads, But I feel like
now
she's really
got that
branched.
Novus jacket construction. That's
She's got
really
that.
cool.
She's got all these really cool like mystery shawl constructions that go all sorts of crazy ways. She's got this cool like cabled drop stitch motif thing that I really want to learn how to do. She's got a lot going on, and she's been traveling a lot. So we contacted her.
We're lucky to get into her schedule.
Yeah, we contacted her even before SSK was over this year.
That night, we were contacting teachers.
Yeah, so
which was very fun. The last night, Saturday night, we started emailing folks, and she and Kirsten replied immediately that they wanted to come back.
Yeah.
We have someone coming all the way from Germany,
yes.
and that is Isabel Kramer will be coming. She is known primarily for her sweaters, which are absolutely stunning, and I can't wait to get a couple knits so we can have those in the try it on room for sure. I just love her design.
It's very like classic and simple and beautiful, useful everyday pieces, I feel like.
Yeah.
And was very kind, chatting back and forth with her. So she'll be coming, like Laura said, all the way from overseas. It's going to be lovely to meet her.
Yes.
And then we also have somebody Laura's been sort of pitching for a while.
Yay! Because y'all know I like some funky spinning. And she's also teaching weaving, and that's Jazz Turtle. Esther Rogers will be coming. So she does some really cool funky stuff. Watching her DVD or Craftsy classes, how I learned how to core spin Christmas lights.
Yeah.
But she does some other really interesting, and she does a tapestry weaving class, which we will be definitely offering. So one of the classes this year will also be a beginner weaving class, which is similar to the tapestry weaving that Leslie and I took earlier this year.
In Memphis, yeah.
Very, very cool. So we've added weaving as an option this year, which is super fun. And there's going to be another option as well with another teacher.
So, and as soon as we have that contract, hopefully by next week, we'll be able to announce that. So we'll have 5 teachers next year. And
we wanted to add a little bit more flexibility with adding 10 more people. To allow for you all to take the classes that you want to take. So I think that'll be lots of fun as well.
And this other class isn't a knitting or spinning class, so it's something different, which I think a lot of people crave something a little different sometimes.
Definitely.
So I think that's mostly it.
Do we want to talk about vendors?
Not yet.
Okay.
Because I've only gotten one contract back.
Well, you just sent them out last week.
Yeah.
So, and people are busy at this time.
Well, and because the payments are due with the contract, a lot of them come in the mail.
Oh, yeah.
So
we will discuss market as soon as we have all those vendor contracts, and they are back. I'm super excited. We have a lot of new people coming to market this year.
We probably have more new vendors this year than we have had in a long time. And we had a ton of really great people apply, but like with teachers, we want to keep some fresh blood in there. We
wanted to mix it up a little bit this year.
We wanted to have a nice balance. Laura got one of her favorite people of all time in there this year.
I bet you can guess this. Maybe not.
But we've got some really cool folks coming, and we're excited about it. So the entries are open, and they will remain open until Monday the 4th, all the way through December the 3rd, and then on the 4th I'll cut them off.
So that's December 4th, 2017.
Right.
In case you're watching this in the way future.
Yeah. And you have to put your name in now if you want to go.
You gotta be in it to win it.
Yeah. We do offer spots to the public occasionally if we can't fill them with someone from the wait list, but it's a rare thing.
One of the big dilemmas people have are, I want my friend to go with me, and unfortunately we do the random numbers.
Because of the lottery system,
you get in,
we just can't do that because it would give those people an unfair advantage in the weighting system of being a random number, because you could just buddy up with somebody, and if either one of you got in, you would both get in. And I mean, if demand gets to be where it's not so crazy, that may be something we can do.
Oh yeah.
But right now it's just not, and I know that frustrates some people, and I'm sorry. but it's just the way
maybe you'll make some new
is.
friends.
Yeah, and a lot of times people get in off the wait list, especially if, you know, it's two best friends or a mother and a daughter or sisters or something.
I was waitlisted for Loopy U twice and got in just by holding out.
Yeah, but a lot of times, like if it's a mother and a daughter or something, or best friends, and let's say one of them gets in, then that other person is going to be one of those people that's waiting for those spots to open for them to claim it. That's almost, you know, if you are patient enough, it is almost certain that you will find a way to get there.
You have to have flexibility in your schedule as well.
And whether or not you're a day passer or on site, because sometimes we have more spots open in one type than another.
Truth.
So I feel like we've talked about this for 20 minutes.
That's probably truth as well.
So if you have any questions about SSK, put them in the episode 372 thread.
Or you can go to the SSK board on Ravelry. We're always floating around there as well.
I did create a new email address for all SSK related things. Are going to go to ssk@TheKnitGirlls.com.
Oh,
all
perfect.
The forms, all the questions, anything is going to go straight there. It just helps in organization, because we have Gwen who helps us.
Yeah, and that way all of us can get into that
it makes
same email.
It simpler. So
excellent.
We hope that you want to come to SSK. We want you to come. And
if you're still watching this, I hope to God that you want to come. Otherwise, I wish you had cut it off like 20 minutes ago.
But I did also want to say thank you to our Patreon folks.
Oh, yeah. We haven't drawn for this month yet. We totally dropped the ball on that.
Okay. Well, we will do that next month.
Next week.
Next week.
Yeah, we'll do it for sure, guys. I'm sorry about that. We totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I was thinking...
Once we take a week off, we get, like, out of whack.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe on Friday, too, we could do a couple of wheel reviews. Because I have that day off.
Yeah, we can totally do that.
So we could get some extra content out there as well.
Yeah, we can totally do that. And if there's anything as a Patreon supporter or non-Patreon supporter that would like for us to do...
We do have a wish list of things that's out there. It's one of the pages on the Knit Girls group. I'm hoping to actually... I have a bunch of PTO... time off that I need to take, and I'm hoping to get some of that done during that time. So we have the greatest of plans, you know, the best of intentions, but you know what they say. So
well, hopefully we can get a couple wheel reviews knocked out. That'll be good,
because that's mostly me asking questions and you talking, which is fine with me,
except when it's your wheels.
Okay, you guys have a lovely week and a happy Thanksgiving if you are in the US and you celebrate, and otherwise we'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.